Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be doing a video that one of my viewers, cardstock collector, love your screen name, asked me to do on white pigment inks and the differences between them. And so I have 8 different pigment inks to try, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But first I wanted to show you a few cards that I've gotten recently. I'm so sorry that it's taken me so long to show this card. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see all of the dimension in that. It was so pretty. I have a good friend from Canada, Sherry, who made this for me. Thank you, Sherry. It's gorgeous. I don't know if you put anything in the back. Yeah. Created Just For You by Sherry Clark. Thank you, Sherry. I love it. Then my girlfriend Alicia thought she's hysterical. Just a brief holiday update. Love these tidy whiteys that she put on there, and the really nice super embossed background. And she doesn't put anything in the back of hers, but I really love that. I mean, come on, who doesn't love a pair of underpants? She also sent me this card. I don't know if any of you, well, some of you do read my blog, but this is my favorite picture of Aggie. Let me zoom in on it. Aggie was my golden retriever that was almost 16. She'd be 16 in February, and we had to have her put to sleep the end of December. And so Alicia sent me a really beautiful card commemorating Aggie's passing. And that was so sweet of you, Alicia. So that's Aggie. It's my favorite photo of her, and she was a lovely dog, and she was like a bear. She was about 85 pounds all of her life, just a really big golden retriever. And for her to live to almost 16 as big as she was, it was amazing. And she was a very sweet lady, so we miss her very much. So I'm not going to talk about anything else that's sad, because you wouldn't want me to do that. I do want to tell you about a Christmas present that I got. I have a very good friend, very good friend, Cora, who was in a video almost at the very beginning of my channel, and she's been too busy to be in them since, but I'll link one of the videos that she was in where we made a pillow together, and I'll link that at the end. But Cora and I have been friends for many years, and she always gets me really great gifts. She makes me gifts that are really impressive. In fact, I'll show you one of those. One of last year's presents that she made me. I'm going to turn it on its side. See all the little pockets on the side? And then she made me a great big one that matches it, that looks like this, that you can put a really big container in. So I put the container inside, but oh, it's got a little fuzz on it. Anyway, Cora makes really beautiful things. This year, for Christmas, she really outdid herself. She made something, honestly, I'm really hard to buy gifts for. And Rich will be the first to tell you, I'm really hard to buy gifts for. And Cora does an amazing job of getting me things that just go right to my heart. And so this is what she made me this year. It's really beautiful, and it's the same font as I use and everything. It's solid wood, it's treated lumber, it's really huge and hefty, and I absolutely love it. So I think I'm going to start using it at the beginning of my videos, so it'll be sitting there. Don't you think it's the coolest thing you've ever seen? I just love it. And her daughter Abby and she worked on this together. Abby's 12, and she's a very crafty girl too, so she's going to be doing some videos with me next summer. And I just wanted to share this with you because it's absolutely amazing, and I'm thrilled with it. So I'm going to be doing a comparison on these 8 inks. And I'm going to talk about each one in a little bit of detail before I start. Stampin' Up created a craft ink. Used to be they sold a lot of craft inks, but they only sell now white and then like an off-white color. And it comes for $9.50. It comes with the re-inker, and that is the Stampin' Up. Hero Arts makes one called Hero Hues, and it's unicorn white pigment ink. And this is a very, very white ink that most crafters use. We're going to see if it's the best because it's the one that a lot of people use. And it's $4.90 at pegstamps.com. That's where I got mine from. Then there's this little Brilliance by Dewdrops. I should have written Dewdrops. I'm going to have to fix that. It's one of the little pads. It's Moonlight White, and you would get that also at Peg Stamps for $2.85. At least that's where I got mine. And almost all of mine are brand new because I bought them from from the idea that someone wanted a video on this. Unfortunately, I didn't read one of her comments where she asked for it, where she explained the colors or the brands that she wanted. I didn't look at that until tonight, and I feel really badly that I missed some of the brands that she wanted. But I think we have a good comparison of the ones that are kind of the most commonly used. This one is Memento Luxe. It's $6.99 at Joanns, and if I give a price, it's the full price. It's not a price with a discount like a coupon. So if you would go there, you could use a coupon on it. And I think I had to buy those all online. Versacolor. This is by Versamark Versacolor, and it was $2. It's number 80 white, and I got that at pegstamps.com as well. Color Box makes this one called Frost White. It gets from Michael's, $5.24. Ranger makes this one called Glacier White, $6.49 at Joanns. And I think that was Joanns.com because that's where I bought it. Okay, I'm going to tell you my story about Stays On. I had a Stays On pad, and when I went to do this video, I started to look at all of my inks, and that one was hard as a rock. I mean, the pad was completely hard. So I thought it was not redeemable, so I threw it out. Okay, that was a mistake because then I contacted Lindsay the Frugal Crafter, and she said, I would bet if you put denatured alcohol on it that would make it usable again. Of course, by then I couldn't find it because it was gone. So that's a bummer, but when you buy it, it comes with a re-inker because it goes dry every time you use it. You have to re-ink it. That's why it comes with a re-inker. And of course, so I had the re-inker because I didn't throw that away. And I had this ink pad that was completely dry, and it was originally a white pad. So what I did was I took my Stays On white re-inker, and this is called Cotton White, and I inked up this pad, and hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't, we'll attribute that to my inefficiency. So that's the story on the inks. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to see what happens if you tried it on different papers. Maybe there's a difference with the way it sinks into the paper or doesn't sink into the paper. So we're going to try Stampin' Up. I didn't have a black Stampin' Up, but this is Blackberry Bliss. It was a discontinued color. I guess the color doesn't really matter. It's, the paper would be the same in their brand. So this is Blackberry Bliss. It's a dark purpley color. The rest are all blacks. This one is Darice. This is a very cheap paper. I think I got 50 pieces of different colors for $2.50. It's called Premium Card Stock, but it is not premium. It's kind of like a little bit heavier than like the paper you use with kids in colors. I don't know what those are called. I'll think of it in a minute. Then this is Gina Kay Neutrals. It's from their Neutrals pack, and it's called Black Onyx. So I did have a good Gina Kay one. Michael's, this is the heavyweight Recollections. It's my favorite. Well, it's my favorite heavyweight. Okay, so those are the 4 brands we're going to be using. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp each one with this little circle stamp that I got from Hero Arts many moons ago, and I wanted it because it's a completely filled in image, and we'd be able to see if it really completely fills when you stamp it, and we're going to see if the image stamps the whole way, or if you have to stamp it more than once, things like that. And I'm going to have Rich fast forward through the stamping, and we're going to zoom in a little so you don't have to wait for all of these. And if at the end, I'll make sure that we look at all of them and decide which one does the best job. I'm going to be stamping on a foam pad, so we should get a good impression, and I'm going to make sure that we have all the papers underneath each other for all of these so that we'll be able to tell. I mean, there should be good cushion underneath. Actually, I think I'm going to take the papers out because I think I'll have a better cushion without them because they're kind of hard. We're going to make sure each time that this is well inked. That's key. And then I'm going to hold it each time to make sure that the ink transfers. And then clean it. Stays on is really hard to clean off. I should have probably done it last because it's one of the hardest inks to clean off of a stamp. And even though my stamp is clean and dry right now, you can still see there's residual stays on there. Now the Ranger pad comes with the little cover like you get with Stays On, and if you buy these ink pads and they have this plastic piece in, keep that and make sure you put it back on every time you use the ink, because that is what keeps it nice and wet, hopefully, when you're doing, you know, like when you keep it. It didn't work for me with my Stays On, but so that's our first round. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the camera off and I'm going to stamp all the rest of them, because I don't think you're really going to want to see me stamp all of these inks over and over again. Hopefully, you can see all of them really, really well. Here's what I think I found. First, we're not going to talk about paper. First, we're going to talk about which ones just didn't perform well. I think I think we all can agree that the Versacolor did not do well. It's just too pale in comparison to the others. So of all of them, I think that we're just going to do a little Ghostbusters symbol through those. Kind of hard to say which ones did best. I guess let's go by paper. I really thought when it came to brightness on paper, I thought that there was a definite difference between some versus others in colors. I thought the Gina Kay paper really looked paler to me than the other ones. I don't know if you will agree with that. I'm trying to make sure there's no weird light on it so that you can't say, well, it's the lighting that makes hers look different. I just didn't think, it just didn't seem like it was as dark. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move hers to compare it to the Darice. Just those two. And I think you'll agree, this is paler than this. This is paler than that. This, paler than that. This is about the same, a little bit paler. This is the same. This is a little bit paler, and about the same. So Gina Kay did not perform well against that paper. Now we'll look at this paper. This is lighter, a little bit lighter, about the same, about the same, about the same, about the same, a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter, or kind of the same. I don't know. So then let's look at it, and that was the Stampin' Up. Then this is with the Michael's Recollections, and this is lighter, this is lighter, this is lighter, about the same, a little lighter but about the same, a little lighter and about the same. So what I would say is, when you're stamping white, I would not use Gina Kay paper to stamp the white on it, because I just didn't think it performed like the other ones. Now Gina Kay makes really nice paper, but it just, in this case, I'm going to rule that paper out as not working well for whites. Then we'll look at these, and I'm going to compare. Next, we're going to look at the Michaels Recollections. Because one of the things you have to know is when you stamp on paper, maybe it's not your ink, maybe it's your paper choice. So we're going to look at the Michaels Recollection, and this is the Darice Premium. And it's just a little bit lighter on the Stampin' Up, a little lighter on the Ranger. I think it's the same with the Hero Arts, the Hero Hues. A little bit lighter with the Brilliance, a little bit close on the Memento. We're not really looking at the Versacolor, but it's about the same. About the same with Color Box, and about the same with the Stays On. Then I'm going to look at it. We're going to look at the Michaels versus the Stampin' Up. It seems like it's a little darker to me than on the Stampin' Up. A little bit lighter than the Stampin' Up paper with the Ranger. A little bit, no, it's about the same with the Hero Hues. A little bit lighter with Brilliance. About the same with the Memento Luxe. We're not counting this one. It seems like it's a little darker to me with the Color Box. And then with the Stays On, it's a little bit, it's about the same. So I'm not sure. I guess it's hard to say because this is purple, you know, that does make a difference. But of all of them, I really thought that this really cheap Darice paper performed the best. Now, I don't know if you agree, but I'm going to pull these apart so you can see it by itself now. I thought when I was done stamping, I really thought that this paper was it's darker. To me, it's darker in each of the colors than they were on the other ones. And so I'm going to be using this one for us to decide which one stamped the darkest and the best. And so what I would say was when I stamped the Stays On, I'm not a big fan of Stays On ink. I think it's expensive, and the amount of work you have to do to clean it off your stamp, it's above and beyond what I'm willing to do, and it's not an inexpensive ink. Here is my recap of all of the inks that I stamped and what paper I felt was best. The Darice Premium Car Stock 65-pound, it was $2.50 for a pack of 50, and I got it at just a local craft store that is in my area. And so I'm sure you can buy it everywhere. So let's go through the inks and decide which ones we think performed the best. In my opinion, the Stays On came off as a little bit yellow, and that could be because I mixed the two inks. As I said, that could be my fault, but I didn't like its performance, and I think part of that is because I'm not crazy about Stays On ink. It's hard to manage. I just don't like it. So I think it's expensive. It's $14.99, but it comes with a re-inker. It's just it's too high maintenance for me, and the results I didn't like as well as the other. It's a little bit kind of greasy when you stamp it, and my stamp kept sliding. I don't know if you can see that on all of these. You see that where it slid, and then on the purple it slid too. You see how it moved? So that's why I'm just saying I didn't like Stays On. So I would say Stays On is a no. Color Box, I really like the results of this Color Box ink. I was really impressed. It's an inexpensive ink, $5.24, and that's full price, I think. I'll make sure I put that in the comments below. I really like that ink. I think it's it's one of the top performers in my opinion. The Versacolor, we've already decided that one, it just didn't have good results. The Memento Luxe, it's okay, but it's not good in comparison. You know, if you just look at these two together, this one and this one, this one and that one, if you look at those two together, there's no comparison. So I'm going to say this one also isn't dark enough. So I guess what we're going to do is we're just going to compare everything to Color Box. So let's look at the Brilliance from the Dewdrops Brilliance compared to Color Box. It's also lighter, so I'm going to nix that one too. The Hero Arts Hero Hues is almost as bright as the Color Box, so I'm going to put that in the category of it did pretty well. Ranger is, okay, so if we're going to say these are the ones that did the best, then this one is lighter than the Hero Hues, so I'm going to nix that one. I hope you see how I'm doing this. Stampin' Up, I feel, is a very strong contender. If you see that one and compared to these two, I would say our top three. You know, if we're going to decide which ones are the ones that work the best, I would say Color Box, the Hero Arts Unicorn White, and the Stampin' Up. If I had to pick one that I think is the whitest, it's kind of hard to tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp them a second time, because when I'm doing stamping, usually I use a MISTI, so I will stamp things twice. But if you don't have a stamping tool and you're using something like this, where you're doing, oh, I just broke the top off that. That's how wicked strong I am. That was a Lindsay word, wicked. Crazy. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp over that same one, and we're going to see how much darker we can make it by stamping on it twice. Okay, here's that one. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm cleaning my stamp in between. I don't want one to impact the next one, and our last one is our Color Box. We'll see if stamping it twice makes enough of a difference to be able to determine one is better than the others. Here's a story about the Color Box one. My girlfriend went to an auction and she bought a bunch of stamping supplies and she gave them to me. And that Color Box ink was in there. So I don't know, I can't tell you for sure if that has been re-inked or how long ago it was re-inked or how long they've had it, but I was pretty impressed when I played with it and was able to get it to get a good impression on it right off the bat like that. Okay, so after we've stamped them twice, no, I gotta be honest with you, I still think they're all about the same. I guess if I was going to be buying any of these, I would be feeling really confident with any of them. The Stampin' Up, the Hero Arts Hero Hues, and the Color Box. And the names of them is, this is Whisper White, $9.50. It comes with a re-inker. The Hero Arts Hero Hues Unicorn White at pegstamps.com was $4.90. That's full price, so that's a very good price for an ink pad. And then the Color Box, again, $5.24 at Michael's. It's called Frost White. I liked all three of them, and I you know, if I was going to say to buy any one in particular, I think all three of them did a great job. I thought maybe by stamping them a second time, one would, you know, stamp it much darker than the other two, but I think the results are all pretty similar. So that is, in a nutshell, my white ink comparison. I think paper makes a really big difference, and again, this is a 65-pound Darice Premium Car Stock. It's really inexpensive paper, and it worked the best, I believe, for all of our stamping needs, and I think it was a clear winner when it came to the darkness of our impressions. And if you are stamping white ink, if you can, I recommend you stamping it twice for a much bolder image, or using an embossing powder over it, a white embossing powder over it if you really want it to be bold white. White embossing powder is hard to work with, and we'll do a video on embossing powders in more detail in the next few days. So that is our story. I hope this is what you wanted, cardstock collector. This is the I think gave you some good options. I hope you give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell one friend about me on social media, or tell everyone about me on social media. I love that. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.